It's not just California. It's the whole world.
Climate change is happening now as a worldwide phenomenon. The term global warming is often used as the synonym for climate change. However, climate change is a broader term, which not only talks about the gradual increase of the Earth's average surface temperature, but also refers to long-term changes in climate. These changes include increases in global average air and ocean temperature, widespread melting of snow and ice, and rising global sea levels. The extra heat in the climate system also affects atmospheric and ocean circulation, which influences rainfall and wind patterns. So why is the climate changing? The latest report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, published in November 2007, stated that most of the warming in the past 50 years is largely due to the observed rising concentrations of greenhouse gases. Small quantities of greenhouse gases regulate the temperature of the Earth to a level which makes the life on Earth viable. However, because of human activities such as burning coal and oil, land clearing, and agriculture, there's a significant increase of greenhouse gases, particularly of carbon dioxide. This enhanced greenhouse effect traps more heat and further raises the Earth's surface temperature.
Tourism as an industry is increasing both volume and economic importance. Several places only a few years ago were inaccessible are now becoming very popular tourism destinations. For instance, Kenya, Maldives, Tibet. We can see the following pictures. The first one shows the Nairobi National Park in Kenya. Those lively giraffes may be walking after dinner. Next one shows one of gorgeous leisure resorts in Maldives. Last one, it is 1921 photo of Mountain Everest in Tibet. However, the ecosystem of many of those resorts are particularly vulnerable of climate change. The first picture shows the major water resource outside the Morali in Kenya runs dry. Then the Moldavian cabinet held a meeting underwater to highlight the need for action on climate change. Lastly, experts compare 1921 photo of Mountain Everest with a photo of the same place taken in 2010 have confirmed that the ice mass is disappearing in an alarming manner. Why the climate change is important to tourism? Clearly, there are so many reasons. Firstly, it can affect important environmental components of holiday destinations, which might have repercussions for all tourism-dependent economies. Secondly, it can potentially have a major effect on global patterns of tourism because environmental considerations are a significant component of decision-making regarding holiday destinations. In some locations, increasingly favorable climate conditions for tourism could have a beneficial impact on local economies if tourists respond to these changes by altering their choice of destination. For example, exposure to sea level rise is likely to cause flooding of some coastal area and affect infrastructure. In Scotland, the Alps, North America, and Australia, changes in the duration and special distributions of some snow may reduce revenue from recreational winter sports. In tropical coastal area, where environmental features such as warm temperature, coral reefs, and the beach strongly promoted by the tourism industry, global warming could impact economics that are heavily dependent on tourism.
The impact of climate change on tourism are significant. It may result many destinations to lose tourism attractiveness in the form of the degradation of natural environment and the unpleasant climate conditions for traveling.
Lose decreasing snow cover, loss of biodiversity, and other negative consequences of natural environment caused by climate change will extremely threaten destinations' ecosystem, like unique environmental features in Great Barrier Reef, Australia, will be continually suffered by global warming. Moreover, some tourism activities are dependent on certain weather conditions. Climate change has reduced visitors' comfort index and travel willingness. Like people who visit Kings Beach, Queensland, will consider the three main factors: air temperature, wind, and clouds. Climate change leads to seasonal change and interregional change of the travel flows. The summer tourists will transfer to the spring and autumn, while the spring and autumn tourists will shift to winter. Climate change will significantly reduce the tourism growth potential in many regions, such as Kenya, Hong Kong, and South Pacific, while some regions such as Canada, New Zealand, and France will become more suitable for traveling. Climate change consistently threatens the survival of many famous tourism destinations, such as Shanghai, Maldives, Florida. The rising sea level will cause the frequency floods, and even worse, this destination will be totally disappeared on the earth in the long run. The natural disaster as a consequence of climate change at the corresponding destination will hugely decrease the tourism demand. The extreme weather and climate events such as snowstorm, severe windstorm, and tsunami will bring dramatically impact on region's social, economic, and environmental aspects. Like the tsunami in Indonesia, it has destroyed the community's house, public transportation system, and tourism resorts, which require lots of efforts and money on rebuilding. Obviously, other tourism-related industry will also suffer by climate change. People scouting on climate change has reduced the number of air travelers. The continued warming may suffer or disappear the skiing industry in some regions, like Scottish. Also, some of the hospitality facilities, like the accommodations at low altitude ski resorts, will be idled or even pulled down when it becomes less commercially viable because of climate change.
Let me introduce the overview of climate change strategy. The tourism industry has to promote the government and intergovernment institutions to design the process to monitor climate change and guiding the industry towards the common aims. And the tourism industry has to increase the public awareness among their tourism business, their staffs, and to encourage tourists to change their behavior. Tourism industry has to enhance the innovation, which includes the implementation and development of the exciting technology and the development of the new technologies. Industry has to implement water, energy, and waste management. Lastly, the industry has to develop the cost-effective climate change mitigation and adaptation strategy. As Vanessa and Maya mentioned previously, climate change really impacts on different tourism destinations, such as coastal and island destination, mountain and winter destination, and nature-based destination. Thus, it is necessary to take some effective measures to lessen the climate change impact on those tourism destinations. Based on the coastal and island tourism destination, some effective measures are: firstly, to develop the softer coastal protection to prevent erosion, such as reef protection, enhancing the design, setting the standards, and planning the guideline for the tourism establishments, and to reduce the tourism pressures on the coral reefs. and to development the diversification of the product development to less the climate independent and seasonality activities such as eco-tourism. Lastly, to educate and awareness raising among the business and their staff and as well as the tourists. In the mountain and winter destination, some effective measures are to stimulate the products and the seasonality diversification to develop the all years tourism and creating spas, and to implement snow makings and make more efficiently, and to preserve glaciers areas, promote industry partnerships, to cooperate between the resorts to reduce the economic vulnerabilities and to share the costs of the snowmaking. And lastly, to combine the mitigation and adaptation into the integrated and coherent strategy. In the nature-based destination, firstly, to develop a response plan such as water supply planning, and also to establish a scientific monitor program to access the ecosystem changes and take the effective protection measures, and reduce or remove some stress such as pollutions and in the case of the marine resource. And lastly, to develop the alternative methodology and to share knowledge across the nature-based destination.